Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited for today's conversation. Today we have Arnaud Mylle, owner of Maid Brigade of Birmingham, with us. Arnaud is a French-born MBA graduate who came to the US in 2020 in Birmingham, fell in love with the Magic City, and decided to plant this flag here as a business owner. He's been running its franchise for nearly 3 years now, which, as he'll tell you, is already a major milestone. So, Arnaud, welcome to the show.
Hi, Anthony. Nice to meet you.
Of course, yeah. Thank you for taking the time for this. So, I guess tell us a little bit about yourself and what your company does.
Okay, so I'm a franchisee of Maid Brigade. Maid Brigade is a cleaning franchise, mostly residential, but we do also a bit of commercial. There is around 80 Maid Brigade franchisee all across the United States, and there is three of them in Canada as well. Basically, I opened in March 2024, providing cleaning services in Birmingham. One of the main differentiation we got with the other big cleaning franchise is that we focus on eco-friendly product. So we try to provide, when it's possible, an eco-friendly alternative to like brown chemicals. It's better for the environment, and it's also better for people with allergy or people with like young childs, pets, So that's their differentiation. The Birmingham market is very competitive. As you may know, Birmingham is the largest city in Alabama. And in Birmingham, you have like all the big franchise of cleaning, all the nationwide franchise, Mary Maid, The Maid, Two Maids and a Mop, like you name it, are here. And a lot of big independent cleaning company. So it's a market where it's a large pound, but with a lot of fishes inside. So you need to keep adjusting to be able to get a market share here.
I see. Well, good job on surviving in this large pond with the fish. I know it can be challenging, especially starting out. So I guess what made you want to start as a franchisee of Maid Brigade out of all places?
Basically, I always wanted to start a business of my own, and the Maid Brigade franchise was a simple model. I was trying to start a business where I could understand the model fully and
Hmm.
something that I could afford. The Maid Brigade franchise was matching this. Also, the opportunity to be the first franchisee in the state of Alabama was very important because basically here, like I'm the first franchisee, so it's an opportunity, in Birmingham and maybe later elsewhere in other big Alabama city, maybe Montgomery, maybe Mobile or Huntsville.
Yeah, franchisees are definitely an easier model to start versus a lot of the issues that entrepreneurs have or wannabe entrepreneurs have is like trying to come up with something original, right? But when you have something that works, it's much easier to launch off the ground.
Mhm.
So when you launched it, as you just mentioned, you stepped into a competitive market with already established companies, right? So I guess people weren't even switching for like a 30% discount to other companies, right? Not competing on price. So I
Yes.
guess how did that force you to think differently about the like long-term value of each customer that you did win rather than just chasing volume?
That's a very good question, Anthony. I was so surprised by the price elasticity here in Birmingham. When people trust a cleaning company to come on a regular basis, what we call recurring cleaning, which is usually bi-weekly or monthly, but it could be even weekly. Once people have a bond with the cleaning company, they don't care about the competition, which means that like if they are committed with a company for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and they appreciate the employees that come for the cleanings, they appreciate the pricing. Usually when you have a client that is a recurring client, you try to give them some services extra, one fridge cleaning once in a while, one oven cleaning once in a while, a carpet cleaning. But if you just do it for free, it's like, oh, it's 6 months you're a client with us. This is gift for you. And people get like very attached to their contractor.
Hmm.
And even if you contact the people with a lower price, as you said, maybe 20% off, 25% off, people are not willing to take the risk because for them it's too complicated. I have a nice guy coming every other week. They do my cleaning. I'm happy with that. Why should I take the risk of you know, trying a new company, and maybe it's gonna be good, maybe not. And people are not really willing. So price is not the main differentiation for recurring cleaning. The differentiation is really like when people have been engaged with the same company for a while, it's very difficult to get them. So what you need to do is focus on people that are now looking for recurring cleaning and that don't have a contractor yet. That's the main things. The second main thing would be the with the pricing is that in a house cleaning market, people might be surprised, but like it's not always the wealthiest client that are the best target for you. You know, let me explain you that. It's because when if you take like the household and you rank them per household income, obviously people with on the low side of the income scale are less likely to get a recurring cleaning. Most likely it's a one-time cleaning when they move in, they move out, or before a big party for an event or something like that. But people on the other side of the scale of income are also not really likely to contract a company. Some people that like in a wealthy neighborhood of Birmingham, they would like basically employ a person or two to come multiple times in the week,
Ah,
maybe 3 times 3 hours every week. This demand is not really met with the service provided by big franchise of cleaning such as Maid Brigade or big contractors, and it's most likely independent person, you know, that are on Craigslist or those kind of like bulletin board in church, in supermarket, and that's those people that get this kind of client. So that was what I discovered during my first year. And so now for the recurring customer, I'm trying to focus on like new client and middle class.
okay.
Yeah.
So I like when you said, that once people have a cleaning company, they're usually most likely to use it over. It stresses the importance of like being first and also doing it right the first time, because then that's the way, that they keep coming back to you, and that basically they won't be affected by other competitors, because people like what's easy, not having to switch around and all of that, dealing with new people and prices is can be difficult.
Yes, and also because you know, the cleaning industry is something very specific because the client doesn't come to us; we go to the client's house. So you know, there is all this personal aspect of the relation with the clients, and you know, when people are used to your cleaning crew. For example, I'm thinking about one of the clients. The cleaning crew go every other Friday, and she knows that like the crew is coming, and sometimes she send a text message the day before like, oh, this, no need to do that, oh, can you please focus on this. And you know, you get like a very personal relation with the people because it's something very specific to deliver the service at the customer house.
Hmm.
It's different from like selling clothes or fixing cars, you know, I mean, where customer have to come to you. We are in an industry where we go inside the client's house, and this is something very, very personal. So, you know, the relationship you build with the client is really based on trust and reliability more than in many other sectors.
Absolutely. So you mentioned kind of rewarding clients' loyalty by, if they've been a client for 6 months or something, you can give them a free cleaning. How do you come up with that? Like that, knowing when and how to reward.
But basically, it's depend of the cleaning service we already provide for the client. But for example, a client where we would go every other week, so every other week it's like 26 time in the year. After 6 months, like 13 visits, you can already give them like a free fridge cleaning, which normally we charge $29, or a free oven cleaning that normally we charge $19. If you see that like it's not really needed, can wait a bit more and the year mark, you know, when it's the 1 year anniversary of the client, and if you see the client have some carpets or something, call them and propose them like, look, if you want, we can do the carpet cleaning for half price, or we can do this room for free, just one room if you want. And I think it's also it again is depend of the relation you got with the client, and also the feedback you got from the team. because my team, when they clean the kitchen, they see the condition of the oven. Some people don't really use their oven much, so you never need to propose a free cleaning because it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? You need to
Hmm.
provide something, a gift for the client, where the client can figure out, like, you give them some value. Like, oh yeah, my oven, I didn't take care of it for a year. They clean it for free. Those guys are nice. If they don't use the oven, you clean it, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So it's very,
Absolutely.
you need to build this kind of reward with every single client.
I see. So it's about basically knowing your customer and tailoring it to what they already use.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
it's really tailored, as you said. Yeah.
And so you mentioned something in our prep conversation, and of course, you also talk about it now. You deal with a few different clients, residential, commercial. You mentioned also real estate agents as
Yes.
being one of the best customers, right? So they, because like for each new house, they're like, oh, this is the guy, empty house, he'll clean it. So how did you go about identifying that type of customer, and how are you trying to like build that pipeline now?
So at the beginning, it happened randomly. You got a real estate agent that call you for a house. Sometimes they don't describe themselves as a real estate agent. They say like, "Hey, I have a house to clean. We are putting it on the market." And then, the day the team goes there, like, they meet the realtor, and okay, you figure out like it's a realtor. And this happened a couple times, and I was thinking like, hey, realtors, they have a lot of house to clean, and it's usually big cleaning because it's a one-time deep cleaning, but it's really the deep, deep cleaning. Like
Oh.
everything from the ceiling fan to the baseboard and whatever is in the middle, the blinds, the windows, they want everything. Because as you know, when you're selling a house, it's better the house to be good looking. And considering the commission that the realtor gets on selling the house, they don't really care about like spending a bit much for a cleaning if it make the house look great. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
what I figure out is when we start to have realtors calling us again and saying like, "Hey, you remember you cleaned a house for us in Mountain Brook like 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago," and then we start to build some relationships with a few realtors and the property manager, which is very similar because the realtor is mostly people, they are gonna put a house on the market, or they sold the house to someone and they want a move-in cleaning or move-out cleaning. And the property manager is offering the same. Somehow they own the place or they manage the place for someone, for the landlord, and they have a tenant out, a tenant in, and they need a cleaning, but it's the same process. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
this kind of client for me is I would say, the best kind of residential client because
Mhm.
it's residential cleaning, but you deal with professionals. So it's business to business, not business to consumer. And those people usually they know exactly what they want. So they want a list of tasks to be completed. You agree on the task, you propose the price, they agree on the price, end of discussion. That's it. And you just provide the service. Then you take picture of the house when it's done, you send to them, and that's it. Because with the residential, since we are inside people's house, sometimes people have like higher expectation or sometimes not realistic expectation as well. With realtor, we deal from business to business, so it's more simple to handle. And for people that are in the cleaning industry, I would recommend them to focus on that because if you work for realtors and property managers and you do a good job, then they call you back, and you don't need to spend any single additional dollars for any further contract you may receive from them. Because when you are chasing new residential clients, you need to keep spending on advertising. Once you have like a couple of like realtors and property manager that I would actually call partners, because these people, they know we do a good service, they like a price, they like also the fact that we are a small business, so we are very flexible. I can always find a space in the schedule to match what they need. And these people, they give us the priority. When they need a cleaning, they give us a call. But where it's very interesting is that the first time they find you on Google, or they find you because someone mentioned the name of my business, Maid Brigade of Birmingham, but the second time they come back for the quality. And
Mhm.
that's very important because the return on advertising investment is where it's the maximum. We just spend one time to get the client, one conversion, and then you just have like further contract coming on a regular basis.
Absolutely. The ROI is definitely one of the most important things in business, especially when acquiring new leads. So, as you mentioned, you came new to the market. You know, you just crossed your third year.
We're starting
Mhm.
the third year actually tomorrow. March
Wow.
4th is the beginning of the third year tomorrow.
Wow. Well, congratulations, man. We're so close.
I mean, it's good because
Mhm.
actually, for what I read in America, it's the 12 to 18 first months of business that are difficult. In France, where I'm from, it's more like the first 5 years. But here in America, it's really a landmark when you are more than 1 year, 1 year and a half. Usually, it's mean that like you are in a safer zone than when you open, because when you open, it's always uncertainty and
Absolutely. So, I guess how did you go about surviving those first 18 months when you got here?
I relied on the guidelines from the franchise. That was some good support at the beginning. But then, the guidelines are like general. So because there is franchisee all across America, there is, for example, Atlanta, Jacksonville, San Diego, Salt Lake City, Cary, North Carolina, upstate New York. All these places are different, and you need to figure out within the model provided by the franchise. It looked like a one size fit all, but it's not. You still have to tailor it a bit to adapt to your own market. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Birmingham is not the richest city in America. Birmingham is fastly growing, but it's not a very rich city. And Birmingham have a lot of competitors. And Birmingham didn't wait me to have like cleaners cleaning houses. So you need to figure out like and find a way to adapt. So for me, realtors, property managers, a bit of office cleaning as well. I've been uh, I've been the way where I could provide a service, and in the commercial, like namely stores and office cleaning, I think we have the real advantage on other cleaning company, because cleaning company that clean offices and stores are most likely janitorial company. And you see the company on one side, maid service, residential cleaning, and on the other side, janitorial. It's kind of two different, way to figure out the cleaning. And
Right.
for small stores and small offices, being a residential cleaning company coming to clean their place is actually an advantage, because janitorial are like, they focus on like being cheap and being fast, where we focus more on the detail. And for small companies, small stores, small offices, that's what they're looking for, and the
Hmm.
reliability. Because our staff is in W2, so our people are basically our employee. They come with the vehicle from the business, they come with the supplies, they come with everything. Where most janitorial company would be on a model where they will use a cleaner closet, put a couple supply there, and have 1099 contractors coming for the cleaning, you know.
I see. Yeah.
And this is not as efficient as what we can provide with a W2,
Hmm.
in term of regularity. And yeah, that's also we're a small business, so we are very easy to adapt. I'm thinking about one of a client. It's a small steel company. They do steel pipes, and they have a small offices of around like 2,000 square feet that where we go there every week. And if one week they have a big meeting with like the bosses from the headquarters coming to visit, can just give us a call the day before and say like, hey, can we push it one more day? We don't want to have the vacuum cleaner tomorrow when the big bosses are around. No problem. You can just adapt to that.
Oh
When
yeah.
you deal with larger structure, it might be a bit more complicated. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
that's also a market I'm looking to develop. Small offices and small stores,
I see. I see.
retail stores, I mean.
Okay. You mentioned understanding your markets, right? And tailoring the franchise model a bit, right? Because even though it's one size fit all, of course, depending on the market, you have to make some adjustments. So
Mhm.
I guess how did you, as someone starting their first business, how did you go about finding a way to understand your market?
It's you need like to approach the market by all the possible angles. Like, for example, calling the competitors and asking a quote for your own house, just to see how much they charge, how much they deal with the booking process. It's very interesting. I do that once in a while to just keep an eye on their pricing. Also, a lot of statistics. Nowadays, with AI, you can leverage like the AI. It's wonderful tools, like ChatGPT, Perplexity, like it costs like $20 a month, but you can leverage this. For example, you can ask an AI, okay, here is where my business is set up, and here's the zip code where I have my clients. Look for this zip code and find back the census data regarding income, residential income per household, you know what I mean? And start to
Mhm.
figure out like which neighborhood have which kind of income. And then you can focus more your advertising, for example, on Google. Maybe you will reduce some of the zip code, maybe not advertising in all your zip code, but maybe just half of them, because this half sounds like there's more fish to fish there, than other zip codes that might be less wealthy. So that's the kind of leverage you can get as well with the AI. And also, the last but not least would be all the network you can get from everywhere, from your neighbors, from like university graduate, from friends, and just keep mentioning your business, not all the time, of course, but every time you see friends, just put like something, a sentence here and there, about like you keep looking for clients, or, gaining more visibility. And that's the thing that have been successful for me. I tried other methods like advertising on social media. I was very big about social media the first year with like almost one post per business day, but we didn't get much traction. I guess people are not like, following cleaning company on social media. So we
Mhm.
still have a social media presence, but it's more like symbolic, it's not like something where we get, customers.
Right.
I also try sponsoring of like two high schools sports team,
Oh, okay.
but we didn't get like much leads from that. So I guess in this market it was not really adapted. But yeah, try different things, you know, human sources for leads, like using the networks, the friends, using all the economic data and intel you can get from internet, like from AI, about like which neighborhoods and stuff like that, better for advertising, so you can maximize the return you get when you advertise, like all sorts of things like that, also, yeah, the competition. Always keep monitoring the competition, see, following them on social media. Once in a while, give them a call, describing my house or one of my friend's house, just to get a quote and see how much they charge and how they handle the clients on the phone. Which questions they ask and how much time they think the cleaning will take. It's kind of, I mean, it's kind of information like by itself, it's useless. But when you collect it from like 10, 15 different other businesses, then you start to have a bigger picture of how the market look like. You know what I mean? So it's I would say piece of intel you get here and there. And then it's by combining them that you can get a better view of what's going on in your market.
I see. I see. So knowing how to use AI, asking it the right questions, and then calling your competitors, getting the details from them, and of course leveraging your warm network. That's actually those are really great steps.
And I mean,
Okay.
I know that sometimes it might look strange to call the competitors to get a quote from them. But look, a customer that's gonna call me for a quote is most likely to call them as well. So I would like
Mhm.
to, kind of figure out like the way they process and which questions they ask. It's very important, you know what I mean? And I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure that among the call I got and we don't book, we might have some of our competitors calling too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess with someone everyone's heard of AI, but not everyone knows there are tools out there or that can help them in this way, or even knows how to properly talk to it to get this kind of information. So I guess for someone listening to this, if they wanted to get like a head start and use a service like ChatGPT or Perplexity, right? What would you say to them in terms of asking the right questions and just knowing how to use AI properly for their
Okay,
business?
I'm not a AI specialist, but I can explain you quickly what I did. There is two things. There is AI for answering phone calls, and there is AI for market research. AI for market research, the most simple way, what I would recommend, not being an AI specialist, is to use, for example, Perplexity, because for $20 a month, and it's even cheaper if you pay 1 year upfront. I think it's like $17 if you pay 1 year upfront, $17 a month. You got access to Perplexity, and you got access to different AI models that are included in the plan, such as ChatGPT, Claude, like so many different AI. And Perplexity is very easy to use because it's really like you ask a question, you write the question like I would ask you a question, like by talking with you. Like, hey,
Mhm.
Anthony, like, what do you think about the zip code in Birmingham? You know what I mean? And you ask like this. And one thing I recommend is to ask the AI, okay, if I have to ask an AI question about my business, what would it be? And then the AI give you a list of questions, and then you just ask them one by one.
Mhm.
You know what I
That's
mean? And then you can get access to like a lot of market information. $20 a month, honestly, when you're a professional, that's not much, and it help a lot. So I think it's really like even like just for if you just want to use it a couple months, can be very useful to understand like the market and
Mhm.
figure out things. I also use it to be able to compete for bid, professional bid for public organization or big company that are looking for a cleaning contract. And
Right.
so I use this, and also I use AI receptionist for fun. It's called Beside. It's an app on iPhone, but I guess it's also on the Google Store,
Sure.
and it's called Beside, and it's great. Like for $200 a year, you get like a phone line, and you got unlimited text message and call in USA and Canada. And so basically, you can set up the way the AI will or will not answer. So me, I choose to let answer all the SMS if there is no reply from me within 2 minutes. So if you send a text message, whether I catch it and I reply, or whether it's gonna start discuss with you, introducing itself as an AI assistant. So you're not talking to a human, but it's still gonna ask you question and build up like some notes for me later on. And same if you call. If you call, I set up the AI to ask you a couple questions. It would be like, hey, Anthony, like no one can pick up your call right now. We're already busy with other customer, but let me figure out like what you need. Do you need a deep cleaning or a recurring cleaning? Okay, deep cleaning. How large is the house? Then you explain, for example, 1,500 square feet. How many bedroom? How many bathroom? Do you need carpet cleaning? Do you need the oven to be cleaned? Do you need this? Do you need that? And at the end, it tell you like, hey, look, I took notes of everything. Someone will call you back shortly. And then I receive a text message saying like, hey, Anthony, living in this neighborhood, let's say Gardendale, phone number, email address. He asked for a quote for this. So I bring my quote and I will call you back. And hey, Anthony, this is Arnold from Maid Brigade of Birmingham. Thank you for calling. I got your estimates. Is it a good time to discuss that with you? And then I will book you.
I see. Well, or not, even if you're not an AI specialist, or most people aren't, right? Those are still great tips for, I guess, beginning to use it. Like, I really like that tip about asking the AI, hey, what questions can I ask you to get a better response? That's
Yeah.
that's pretty smart to do.
And for the AR receptionist, of course, I would not let it handle my clients. When I can pick up the call, I will pick up the call myself. But it's more
Mhm.
like a backup call. So when you call us, you're not disappointed that like no one pick up your call. There's always
Mhm.
someone that's gonna pick up the call and take serious notes about your cleaning needs. And then when I call you back, I don't have to question you again because I got already all the data. You know what I mean? And I can
Right.
build my estimate and call you back directly with the estimate. And it's not much, but it help, because one thing I know is people, especially in neighborhoods where there is multiple other cleaning company, if they call you and you don't pick up the phone, they're gonna call the next on the Google list.
Right.
And calling back in 15 minutes might be too late already.
Mhm.
So the AI receptionist is kind of like give me a bit of extra time because people get busy talking with the AI receptionist. Then at any time I can pick up the call even meanwhile you are chatting with the AI. And in all case, I get notes about your needs and can call you back with that. So again, it's small things, but it helps.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's good that you're transparent and that it also, it asks those questions and saves you time. So that's great, especially when somebody's on their webpage and they see another business right next to it. That's kind of time you can't buy back. So with that being said, I have a couple more questions.
Hmm.
The next one is one of the things you mentioned as a business owner is that you have to be very adaptable, And of course, you also demonstrated that when you were mentioning learning your market and tailoring the franchisee brand to your city. So I guess how do you deal with adaptability, like foresight, planning ahead, and also reactively? Like, do you think about those two ways, or how do you deal with it?
It's you perpetually have to adapt the business all the time. So the thing is like we always have like unexpected setbacks, unexpected problem, you know what I mean? And you like I would say that it's the case for every business. I know many business owner. I have many friends that have business in different sectors, and the thing is like reactivity and adaptability and take initiative, whatever it's needed to adapt and to achieve the, overcoming the problem of the moment. That's really the key is like to keep adapting all the time.
I see. Okay. Well, thank you. And what are you most looking forward to in the next 12 months for this business?
Developing the relation with more realtors, more property managers, and more offices. Yeah, eventually being able to bid on some contract for like maybe bigger offices or some government owned or government operate, facility. I'm thinking about like local governments such as the county, Birmingham City, or small city around Birmingham such as Gardendale, Fultondale, Mountain Brook, things like this. Also, community centers, those kind of places. That's what I want to focus in the next year. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, fi now that you know what kind of clients you want to find, it's great that you can go all in on that because you know what you're gonna get. All right. And I guess if people, from the Birmingham area or even someone online wants to connect with you or work with you, how can they find you?
Our website, maidbrigadeofbirmingham.com, our franchise website, maidbrigade.com, or per phone, like if you type Maid Brigade of Birmingham on Google, you find a phone number 205 350 3253. And yeah, that's the most simple way to contact us. On the website, we got a booking tool. So if you don't like to talk on the phone, you can just answer the question directly on the website and book on the website. Find the schedule when it's the best for you, and just book from there.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll also post those in the description just
Mhm.
so um just so they're there, anyone can take a look and visit. And besides that, I guess thank you so much, Arnaud, for taking the time for this podcast. And yeah, keep crushing it.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me.
Of course. Thank you, Arnaud.